Welcome to this fourth episode of the PLM Global Green Alliance series, speaking with PLM-related vendors about their sustainability goals, their solutions to help companies to become more sustainable, and most of all, we want to understand what is happening and what can we learn to do now. Today, together with my colleague Klaus Brettschneider, we are talking with Vincent de la Mar, founder and CEO of Sustaira, a relative new company as you might discover. Therefore, first of all, Vincent, welcome, and please introduce yourself and tell us about your personal connection with sustainability.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Jos, Klaus. It's a pleasure being here today. Vincent de la Mar, indeed, founder, CEO of Sustaira. My background is actually in software, in actually low-code app delivery with the Mendix platform, which is a Dutch company as well. I've been there for 15 years, active in that network, and launched a company based upon that technology focused on sustainability. So we actually have a complete portfolio of apps focused on sustainability built upon the Mendix platform. My personal focus on sustainability and relation to sustainability is I'm Dutch, and as most of the people know, a third of the Netherlands is below sea level. So I always say if we, the Dutch, aren't going to figure this out with climate change in particular, the Netherlands probably is not going to be there. It definitely is personal. I live and work for the last 16 years in Boston in the US, but I still get a lot of the information from the Netherlands, and you just have to open the newspaper or read online, and everything is focused on sustainability at the moment. So having the input from the Netherlands, being in the US, the gap is tremendous. That's where I see the opportunity, and that's where the drive sits for me.
Okay. Well, I assume you also see the difference between Europe and the US related to sustainability. We had a lot of discussions in the Green Alliance also about that. And yeah, the Dutch are probably more worried about the water, where the carbon emissions is a topic, I think, in the US, isn't it, Klaus?
Yes.
Yeah. More the carbon topic, yeah.
Okay. So with that concern or that interest, you said, okay, it's time to start a company. When did you start, and how did you build your mission?
Yeah, so we started, it's coming up, the 1-year anniversary last year. But everything I've done, 15 years before that led up to that point. So there's a lot of experience there. But the mission is really focused on sustainability directors and to enable them and equip them with innovative software. When I started to research the software market for sustainability, a lot of off-the-shelf, more rigid reporting tools, but nothing really agile or flexible that can keep up with changing requirements. And if one thing is for certain in sustainability, which, by the way, for us is focused not only on environmental, but also on the social and governance aspects, or really ESG, is that the common factor is change, right? Changes in laws, changes in politics, changes in missions of organizations, and even in knowledge. So for us, it's all around providing agile and flexible software to equip and enable director of sustainability to make a difference.
And maybe you can give us some insights in what is the physical or the virtual offering, because the company is new. What type of solution are we talking about?
Yeah, well, the best way to explain it is through layers. I actually see in your background you've got the circles as well. So the middle circle, if you have 3 circles, the middle circle is really focused on our software platform. So we call that an all-in-one sustainability and ESG app platform. And that consists of tiles, all sorts of apps, just like how you open your mobile phone, you see all different apps. That's literally what we offer as well, but then focused on ESG apps. Apps focused on ESG goals and KPI tracking. Apps focused on carbon accounting, so scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions. Apps focused on data aggregation for your supply chain, so really focused on scope 3. But also diversity, equity, and inclusion applications. So we actually show where the gaps are in your organization around, for instance, equality, whether it's pay or other domains, all the way to gamification around sustainability KPIs. And then obviously, last but not least, also around reporting and actually providing more insight, not only internally, but also externally, and even disclosures like GRI, for instance.
So that would mean your core product is the platform.
Yeah.
And the platform, you provide additional apps on top of it with certain capabilities. But where is the data? Where is the data coming from?
Yeah, so the data aggregation piece, that's really, I'd say, a unique differentiator on our end. So there's a lot of pre-built connectors that we use, for instance, Salesforce connectors, SAP connectors with ERP systems. So we can configure those connectors and then pull the data out of underlying systems. So whether it's a CRM, an ERP system, also reimbursement portals, for instance, a great example there is employee travel. People already type in their information around travel when they do their reimbursements. Well, if they take a flight or take an Uber or a cab, that has a certain impact. We can then pull that data from that reimbursement portal, transform that into a carbon footprint, for instance, and then get that data in the right format for reporting purposes. We also do that externally around customer data or supplier data. And so typically it's really the aggregation on top of existing data sources where we pull data from. Lastly, a use case I also see is a lot of quantitative and qualitative questionnaires. So not only qualitative, but also really data entry from suppliers, for instance, which is often still done in Excel, while obviously it should be done in a nice web or mobile application.
Right. I think the biggest enemy for everyone is Excel, huh?
Yeah.
So this is the first time basically we talk a little bit about outside of our typical PLM space. So, but I saw Sustaira has a partnership with Siemens, and I think Team Center will play a role. Could you talk a little bit about this PLM and engineering environment?
Yeah. So as I explained, my background is in Mendix, a leading low-code app platform. Mendix got acquired 4 years ago by Siemens. And so I've been very active for the last 4 years in the Siemens Mendix ecosystem. And we leverage here at Sustaira the Mendix platform to build these applications very rapidly. So naturally, because of Siemens' background in the industrial area, PLM is a very big topic. So what we are looking into right now together with Siemens is really do, for instance, scenario analysis in the design phase of certain products before the manufacturing space to look what the impact is, not only on the environmental side, but perhaps even on the social side. And a great example is, for instance, around Siemens Energy, building huge wind turbines. Well, if you make certain decisions in the design phase, what type of materials you would leverage, the impact will be significantly when you start to run these huge wind turbines. And the footprint, the carbon footprint in particular, and therefore perhaps later on the carbon tax that an organization needs to pay will be significantly impacted. So that's the design phase. Obviously, there's a huge opportunity as well around manufacturing plants, right? So on the PLM side, the bill of materials, the input and then the output, and what happens in that production phase at a plant around energy, renewable energy, but also the people aspect, who's involved in that manufacturing space. So we're mapping the different domains. We're building app templates for manufacturers, organizations that use the team centers of the world, right, the PLMs, to then add sustainable ESG apps on top of a PLM, like a team center.
And is the solution that open that I would say any PLM solution could quickly work with Sustaira?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, Jos, and the answer is yes. So we use we've opened up our applications with APIs. So technically, you could connect it to any other PLM backend system that you have in your organization. It doesn't have to be per definition Siemens Teamcenter, but obviously we've got out-of-the-box connections with Siemens software.
So one of the points that we also learned from the discussion with SAP, 80% of the environmental impact is done in the design phase, and how would you support designers in making different decisions? Are you able to connect to certain material databases, or have you done this before? Or
yeah. So on the LCA side, that's of course a huge topic, and for us, I think what's also important when I mentioned the three circles, the middle layer is our software. The second circle is the implementation, co-creation, and customization of the software, and then the outer layer, that's a network of sustainability and ESG consultants. And the reason why I bring that up is that co-creation, collaboration for us here at Sustaira is key. So for us to actually work with domain experts, migrate their Excel spreadsheets, and even translate the ideas that they have in this space into innovative web and mobile applications, that will accelerate the innovation, therefore the adoption ultimately in this space. So this topic in particular, I see a huge opportunity because the speed upon which we can actually get data or talk to data via a web or mobile application is tremendous. Let me give you an example. We connected with Energy Star, which is pretty much the leading energy firm here in the US from a software perspective. We connected with them in 2.5 hours. And then we could actually pull all sorts of data for universities into a Sustaira application. So for the same reason, we can very quickly touch LCA databases or bill of material databases and do scenario analysis. And I think that scenario analysis using X, Y, and Z over A, B, and C, and therefore with a certain algorithm, there will be a scenario around what the negative externality is, what the negative impact will be, and providing that back to manufacturers and ideally even on the engineering side, so the design phase, that will be key. If we can enable those folks early on before the production with that data, we can make the right decisions and therefore have a real impact.
So if I would simplify it, and sorry if it's wrong, you could say more or less you're able to provide your outer circle, the consultants, the companies with any type of data or at least relevant data very rapidly thanks to the platform. And then that's the moment that they have to discover and develop methodologies how to design products better and to monitor products better. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's 100% correct. And what's key as well is that in ESG right now, in sustainability, some of the core concepts are still being developed, right? It's a very immature and early stage in this domain, right? It reminds me a lot of HR back in the day, right? 20, 30 years ago. And now it's widely adopted, and HR has so many different aspects being supported with out-of-the-box software. We're not even close to that domain yet, right? In the ESG space. So co-creation and having the ability to very rapidly customize core templates for organizations will be key, because not all requirements for especially large organizations are the same. Chances are that they're significantly different per organization.
Right. And can you already share, I mean, more than a handful of experiences with companies, or is like what I see in my customer base, many are talking about it, and it's first about we have to look good before we start acting.
I mean, so although we started Sustaira less than a year ago, it goes extremely well. We're growing very rapidly. globally. So not only here in the US where I sit, but also Canada, also in the Netherlands, Germany, and even the first conversations in Asia Pacific are taking place. Latin America is a big hub as well for us.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is super interesting, but also from a manufacturing perspective, right? A lot of low-cost manufacturers there, and from a pollution perspective, you can't escape that anymore. You really have to be proactive with that, and those large organizations, they realize they have to do that. But some examples. So higher ed is a big one. So Xavier University leverages us for 24/7 tracking of ESG goals and KPIs. So they used Excel spreadsheets, shared that around every month with the right stakeholders internally. And now they actually have a real-time dashboard, not only for data intake, but also to share that internally. The next phase will be externally, to show their stakeholders all the initiatives that they're working on. If I look at Siemens Canada, a very cool project. We built call it a small mobile smart grid application, but the application connects with Desigo CC, which is Siemens building software for your HVAC type of data. We then connect with the solar system, which is a solar flower that moves with the sun. And then we also connect with the EV, the electric vehicle chargers outside. And then we actually start to optimize and provide mobile visibility and transparency into the data sources. So just a few examples. So we've got transportation customers, obviously manufacturers, and actually a solar company as well. So Innovative Solar is another great customer.
Are you not concerned? It sounds like because of Mendix in the background, you're quite flexible what you can actually do with your software. Are you not concerned you go into too many directions besides the ESG topic?
Yeah, well, great question for sure, Klaus. And the honest answer is I don't look at this at the short term. So if you start with the end in mind and you want to have a big impact, then you already have to have a great open platform and a broad way of looking at it. So the platform, the templates that we develop, and that is changing every month because we do a lot of custom projects, and then we can take that and then we can actually use that for other organizations. And the beautiful part is within ESG, organizations, they want to share, right? They're not commercial applications around IP. No, this is around doing something for the greater good, right? So the portfolio is rapidly increasing, which is great. And the second part there, I'd say, is that we do, from our marketing and sales perspective, we do have a focus on 4 verticals: higher ed, local government like cities, manufacturing, obviously, because of the Siemens background, energy and utilities, and construction, real estate, and engineering, because that's a big topic around sustainability. Those are the 4 main verticals that we are proactively reaching out to, but it isn't restricted to those verticals. So we've been having conversations with museums, right, in the largest museums in the world. We've been having conversations with logistics and transportation, obviously, great use cases. So I see it as a great opportunity for us to show the real strength of what we do, which is 70-80% of the functionality in an app is the same. And then you start to customize the next 20-30% with other data sources, with a new look and feel, perhaps with even some new logic, right? And you can very quickly customize that per vertical. So no, it's actually, I'd say it's actually a strength for us that we can go that wide.
And the growth in your company will then come, is it something you want to build, or is it something you will do with other consultancies, or how do you imagine to keep this growth going?
Yeah. So unlike some larger corporations in this space, I believe in a bottom-up approach. So localization and leveraging local, not only implementation partners, so for instance, Mendix partners globally, but also ESG and sustainability consultants locally will be key for our growth. So we have a partnership program for both of those entities where they can not only absorb our platform, offer it to their prospective customers, but also sit hand in hand with the software, for instance, around a materiality assessment. So normally a materiality assessment it's all Excel. Well, why not leverage an app that we've already built, customize that for your specific region, and let the ESG consultant directly get the data in the right format, which is in a database. Because then we can do a ton more with that. So it's extremely important for us that we have a open partner strategy, both on the implementation and co-creation, as well as on the ESG consultancy side per region. Quite frankly, ESG is also not something you can centralize. By which I mean, every city, every country, even per industry, there's different regulations and different asks. So there's no way that one person or one group can keep up to speed. You need to have a network of ESG consultants locally, domain specific.
Yeah, so I like the concept of flexibility and openness and really the kind of, you can call it prototype approach, because we all have to learn in this business and we don't know where is the standard. And yeah, if you have a fixed module which is not so customizable, you might already create barriers that are, I'd say, restricting the adoption of the tools. So I like this a lot. And historically, what I've seen is the challenge is always to combine the technology with the methodology, to find skilled people that can translate all those beautiful technology capabilities with methodology that makes sense. But at least you can do something instead of just talking about it and try to look good. I mean, that's what I like from the solution.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's spot on, and so the strength of a low-code approach is that you actually bring the business domain owners into the same platform to co-create something. They're not two separate worlds, and therefore innovation and new projects lend itself very well for a low-code approach. And if something is focused on innovation, differentiation, and doing something new, it's in the sustainability space. There's a lot to discover. One thing is for sure as well, there's a lot of data, but it sits in all sorts of different systems, Excel spreadsheets, databases, and even in a lot of people's minds, right? So it starts first to get that together in a digital format, and then you can build the applications on top of it. And that's literally what we're doing.
And it's the whole discussion we have also in the PLM domain and digitalization, making data accessible and for I would say outside the engineering domain. That's the big challenge, and sustainability is one of the nice drivers for this digitalization in PLM. The point still, and coming back to the methodology, are you in your company investing more in technology, or are you going to be also maybe the sustainability ESG gurus? Because also management needs to have some guidance in where to go.
Yeah, no, it's 100% both. So it's in this space you can't become a software company without a lot of domain knowledge. I just think the way how we will get there will be significantly more open, more collaborative, more co-creative versus your traditional corporation. I think a lot of organizations are often concerned. I have a great idea and I'm not going to open it up. That's not the case with myself personally, but also with Sustaira. I want to accelerate innovation via co-creation and collaboration. So it will go hand in hand. And quite honestly, we already see it, right? So we're working with sustainability directors in different verticals and even partners, even consultancy firms that are using a BI tool or an Excel spreadsheet when their idea is extremely repeatable if you have an application for it. So why not sit down, come up with a good model, build that initial first application literally in a week, and then start to approach several customers. That to me is very pragmatic, but so needed in this space.
Okay, and have you any concerns about scalability? I mean, if we have a full digital structured company also on the design side, how much data do we need to process, and can we still manage it with the right quality?
Yeah. So that's the beautiful part about our partnership with Siemens and Mendex. It's a platform that is out there for 16, 17 years. And day in, day out, thousands of engineers are working on the platform. So it's really our differentiator to use proven technology, which is highly scalable, right? The largest finance insurance firms are leveraging the Mendex platform. The largest manufacturers are leveraging Mendex, ton of data, and it's easy to scale. So although Sustaira is relatively new, the technology underlying it is of course proven and highly valuable.
Are you also exploring the contribution to the digital product passport, which the European Union is starting to promote?
Yeah, so there are several initiatives. So the answer is yes. We're exploring several initiatives that are in the talks right now. Our goal is even to come one step closer and even enable government entities with not just a PowerPoint, but an actual app, and start to test that with a small group to see what the value can be. So really, coming closer to even the people that in the end decide upon these initiatives.
Okay. So what can we see in the future, Vincent? Where are you in 5 years from now?
We're not in this to organically grow. So we're definitely going for a big impact. And therefore, we will look for significant partnerships, whether they're the big organizations, the large organizations in the ESG domain. But that's one part, partnerships. We are at the moment looking at an investment round as well on our end. So we will increase our own employee base and our proposition. So I'd say in 5 years, we definitely have a significant global reach. Even after a year, it's amazing to see globally the reach that we already have. And probably we will look into AI, big data. We will have a ton of data, and I think we can be more predictive and more proactive to guide organizations probably what they should be doing, right? So there are a lot of early adopters in this space, but the majority of the organization still even needs to start. So if we can be more predictive, proactive, by leading by example with early adopters, we can really have a positive impact with Sustaira, which is ultimately what we're going for.
You can give the data to as proof points, because the other important change I see in companies, we haven't talked about circular economy, which is very much a methodology based. I mean, it's design concepts, it's design principles, and then in order to make those decisions, you need to have data to prove that the solution you choose is the optimum solution also for the company. So that's where I'm curious how those two are coming together in the upcoming years, because for sure circular economy is crucial, and data driven is the other part, and I think that's where you're doing a very nice job, and we're looking forward to see the results there. With that, I would say thank you, Vincent, for the insights on Sustaira at the moment, and yes, for sure a company we will be following near because data driven and ESG is the future that we have to invest. We can't put it aside. So thank you very much, Klaus.
Thank you very much for your time. I really look forward to see what this will bring to the market and to customers, and getting more feedback out of the data and get this in front of engineers, what we always want to see. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you, Klaus. Thank you, Jos. Very nice to be part of this, and thank you for your initiative as well.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.